Okay, let's look at question here. Solve the problem. Which of the following vectors is parallel to the vector v equals negative 10I minus 8j? We know vector v is minus 10I minus 8j can be written in this way. Negative 10, negative 8. And the w, we have 4 vectors. And here, I use xy to represent everyone here. We want to find out if this vector v is parallel to any of them. Let's see how we are going to find out the angle between v and w. We call that if w is xy, then dot product of v and w can be written in two ways. One dot product is the length of vector v times the length of vector w times cosine theta. That's one way to calculate it. Another way is vector v dot vector w is using x times x plus y times y. Those two are equal, then it gives us is the length v times length w times cosine alpha equals this value. Both sides divided by the product of the length, then we have is cosine alpha shows up. So here that would be the formula right here. Okay, that's the formula. So both sides divided by the length, the product of the length, this v length cancel each other, vector w length cancel each other. We got cosine alpha equals upstairs is x times x plus y times y. Downstairs is the length of w, length of v times length of w. We know by Pythagorean theorem, length of v is actually the coordinate x squared plus, here is negative 8 squared, choose the square root. And here we have a w, similar. Okay, that's going to find out the cosine alpha. Alpha is the angle of those two vectors. Okay, so we can calculate that. For different xy here, can be negative 20, 25. You plug in here for xy. Can be 4, 4. You plug in here. And it can be 20 and 16. I know the answer is 20 and 16 in many different ways, so I will try this one. I plug in x, which is 20, I plug in y, which is 16. So I get the calculation. Upstairs is negative 10 times 20, which is negative 200. And then 8 times 16, that's 128. 128 negative. So upstairs is negative 328. Downstairs, 100 plus 64 is 164. 4 is 20 squared is 400. And then plus 16 squared is 656. And then you can calculate downstairs, which is 328. Upstairs is negative 328. Downstairs is 328. So you have a negative 1. That tells us that cosine alpha is negative 1. What is alpha? Cosine 180 is negative 1. Cosine 0 is positive 1. So this tells us that two vectors are in this way, in the opposite direction. Then, of course, they are parallel. Okay? So then it tells us what? Alpha is 180 degrees. So vector 20i plus 16j with v negative 10i minus 8j is one parallel to the other. Here you see it takes a lot of work, but if you look at 2016 here, you divide it by 2, what do you get? Here will be 10. 16 divided by 2 will be 8. Negative 10, negative 8, positive 10, positive 8. They go to totally different direction, right? So this one is just unit. Length is twice as much as this one. So it's easy to see actually what the vector W 20i plus 16j is parallel to the given one, negative 10i minus 8j. Okay? So remember, here in future, this will be the angle formula. Let me mark it right here. In order to find out the angle, we got to use this formula, the angle of two vectors. We calculate the cosine alpha. Alpha is the angle in between two, and then this value can be found. We choose cosine inverse of this value. We shall get alpha. Okay. All right. Let me erase this. Okay. Okay. I'll see you next time.